Time for the Creator Town Hall here on Studio Live today, brought to you this week by our good friends at BandLab. Yeah, if you want to release music and you want to create music, you want to engage with the community, BandLab's a pretty darn good option. There's mobile apps there. You can use it on your Mac or your PC. It is free and you can sign up right now for free and download it. It's online. You don't even have to download it, but you can download the mobile app or use it in your browser. It's very, very cool. We'll be talking about BandLab a little bit later, but guess what? You don't have to just look at my face and listen to me rant for the next hour. We're going to get a fellow rantee to join us here. And it is someone who was on the very first episode of this very show, Creator Town Hall. And it is the one, the only, Jade Starr. Oh, and she's not there. We planned it all out and we were hoping that Jade would be here for the show. But unfortunately, it's an empty stage.
Hello!
Wait. Oh no, you that was so cool because it looked like a magic trick because there was a little bit of your vape smoke and then you popped up, so it kind of looked like it was a David Blaine like mystery thing that was about to happen.
Well, that's actually a video background with the smoke. So it's
the
not
smoke
really
is
my
there.
vape smoke.
Not even your vape
I just
smoke.
thought it would work with my vape smoke, so it's a bit of a
So you never know now.
Exactly, you don't know which is the fake, which is the real. How's it going, Pete? Hello everybody in the chat. Good to see you all.
It is going very, very well. Look, we say this at the start of every show. You've been on this channel probably more than anyone else, but there may be one or two people out there who don't know you and don't know who you are and why you're here. So why don't you give us the 30-second Jade Starr elevator pitch?
I happen to be a transgender musician who started this crazy YouTube caper almost 2 years to this very date, as of next week, trying to encourage people to make music. And I have a show called How to App on iOS, which nearly every day I sit there, talk a load of bollocks, try and have fun and encourage people to make music whilst making music myself and just seeing what amazing things come from it. So, yeah, I feel like I've been a part of this show as much as my own show over the years. I'm kind of like the furniture here on Studio Live today.
Well, you are. You've literally, back when there used to be a couch behind me, you've literally like been on the couch and on the treadmill in this very studio room in various forms. And that was in fact the very first one of these shows, the Creator Town Hall, which is probably one of my favourite shows of the week because I just get to hang out with cool people and chat with people in the live stream here and with my special guests. And today we're talking videos, which I know is something that you're passionate about. And would it be fair to say you've just reignited your passion for videos at the moment, Jade?
I sure have, and it's come from. I talked about this just in an interview with Welton Kinder, and I talked about this very briefly. How it came from the idea of all the gear and no idea. Because back when I first started making music on iOS, I was just using an iPad, an audio interface, and a guitar, and it was so liberating and freeing to just make music that way. But then I started my channel and built a TV studio pretty much, and I have all this gear here and I'm surrounded by it every day, and I started feeling really trapped every day, waking up in a room full of gear. And I've always been into making videos, and it encouraged me to hang on a minute, I've got to get outside and buy something, get something different, and think about video creation a little bit differently. Because I've done the LumaFusions, I've tried to make video clips in my garage, and now it's time to do something a little bit different. And that led me to buying a drone. Something that I've never ever wanted in my entire life, never even thought about. But it was cheaper than a dog in the long run.
Cheaper than a dog. I like it. And you don't have to feed it as often. I suppose you have to charge it, but you probably
electricity.
Don't have to, electricity. Yeah. That's going to cost you.
Which is getting pricey. It's going up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Very, very cool stuff. And if people want to check it out, by the way, jump down in the description. There's a link to Jade's channel for those who haven't already subscribed and watched. And you've been playing around with your drone and been doing some video stuff in preparation for some big upcoming projects that I know are going to be a lot of fun and interesting to watch. So we will dive into some topics. We're talking mostly about videos today, but other topics as well. And as we always say on these shows, if you've got a question, you can throw it in the chat here. You can throw throw it in the live chat. Sorry, I'm getting messages from my daughter here. This is doing a live show when you're also a parent. Good times.
That's
if
one
you've got a
thing
question,
my drone doesn't do.
your drone doesn't ask you questions and message you during a live show. No, that's cool. So yeah, if you do have questions, you can put those in the chat there. But let's start with the why factor, because we're talking about creating music. This is a creator town hall, and many of us create music. We create audio, but why would you go to the extra step of actually creating a video, a music video to go along with your song?
I think firstly, fun. Yeah, and I think many of us around these channels remember MTV and the music video craze that hit, and it really took music to another level to actually have a video clip and to be taken away to another world, because music in itself takes you to great places, takes you to sad places, happy places, so many different places. But to be able to visualize and have something else that you might not expect, because, you know, an artist releases music and you think you have an idea of what it's about, but a lot of the time you're way off, and the artist has written it about something else. So here's another way for an artist to express exactly what they see, what they've written, what images they have for the actual song. So I think it's really fun to be able to have an extension of the music. And the creative process is really interesting as well. It's another skill to pick up as an artist these days. Just making music isn't enough. You need to get into the video. You need to market yourself. You need to understand yourself even more, and video can help with that. And it can help you with, advertising and marketing and all that stuff, because there's that extra level that you can put out to people. And I think, you know, in a world where TikTok is taking over and Instagram is taking over these tiny little things, the video clip is that perfect medium. Yeah. It's however long the song is, it's that 5 minutes to 3 to 5 minutes that sits comfortably and still hopefully drags people in to enjoy your music a little bit more than another TikTok video.
Well, yes, and we will talk about the different flavors of videos and what's sort of happening more generally in the world of videos, as well as nerding out a little bit, because I think what a lot of people get daunted by when they start out is that, oh man, it's a bit like writing a song. I could never do a whole music video. They grew up with MTV, and they're like, I can't do all that video shooting and editing and then syncing the music and doing all the stuff. But there's other options, like there's other ways to get in there slowly, and you don't need a big red 4K camera. You can literally use your phone and like a couple of pretty cheap apps, or free apps even, to create some pretty darn amazing music videos, which we would be talking about today. So yeah, why? Because you can, because it's fun, because it's easy to do, and if you want to get your music out there, people are listening to music still, but if you can have a visual component to it as well, I think it can make it much easier for people to digest and for people to consume on all these very video-centric platforms, which is a cool thing. Should we say g'day to the folks who are here live? I know that I usually take too long to actually say hello to the fine folks that are here. I know, I just go ranting off. I'm so big-headed. I just go full of hot air.
How many times have we sat in the chat and Pete started a show going, hello, welcome to Studio Lab today, and you've gone off on a 5-minute rant, and we're all in the chat going, the picture's black, Pete. We can't see you. And then you're
I'm very glad StreamYard had that issue for a while, and I'm very glad that they've corrected it, because for a while there, about 1 in every 10 streams, it was like a lucky dip. About 1 every 10 streams, it would just start. It would be a completely black screen, and or the audio would switch magically to the webcam instead of that, and you'd be like, Pete, you sound like shite, mate. You might want to check your settings.
It's the wrong mic. It's the camera mic. You got to love live streaming for that.
Oh, you do. Well, we talk about live streaming as well, because that is a form of video. But we'll say good day to our friend Papa Tom. Hope you are doing well. To Mr. Thomas Christ. Hello to Mark Bro, Gregory O'Sullivan. Yeah, let's just do the Tremor Bear. Hello to you. Hello to from Pismo Beach. We've got Jimmy Townsend. We've got the artist who I pronounce the name differently every time, so let's try a new one. Rok Avalananda. Hello, y'all. Do you know how to say the name of this artist? Because I get it wrong every time, I'm sure.
I'm just going to say it different anyway. Roke Alavanenda.
There you go. We are very sorry. We're very uncultured. What's in the box? What's in the box? That was a drone. What's the model of your drone there, in case Jimmy's interested and wants to be like Jade?
It is a DJI Mini SE.
Nice.
And that's what's in the box, exactly right there. So a drone, a controller, a bunch of batteries, which you need, and controller, spare blades, which I haven't had to use, thank God.
Haven't had too many crashes.
No, I've had absolutely no close calls so far. Because it's $600 I'm flying in the air. And trust me, when you're watching it in the air, you're going, that's a $600 flying around. You don't think that's a drone and I'll just take it easy. You think that's a wallet full of money in the air.
Ooh, yeah, rough. Hello to Dwight Bailey. I hope you're doing well today, Dwight, as well. Russ8889's dropped on in here to say g'day. And our friend Keonra from over in the west of Australia as well.
It was Keonra's birthday yesterday.
Was it? Happy belated birthday, Keondra. I hope you had a good one. I hope you're doing well over there in WA Town. Let's talk more about videos. So we talked about making a music video. Do you think that it's valuable? A lot of people these days are making lyric videos and visualizations to put their music out there, as opposed to a full, I guess, traditional style music video with, maybe yourself singing along or some other imagery. What do you think is the value of a lyric video or a visualization?
Well, visualizations first can be used with a mixture of footage, of course. So, you want to mix things up, and there's, great apps that are on the App Store now that even allow you to create visualizations to your music in real time. And even like playing a MIDI keyboard, there's a bunch of them that are available that allow you to do that. And, you can make... there's a lot of stock footage out there that people use, but you can actually take stock footage of visualizations and real situations and, transparency, put them over the top of each other and make your own things from things that may be even copyrighted. So there are ways around making things that may get you in trouble because you're deriving something from something else. So it becomes an original product. I do that on IMVU, which is this chat program, which uses avatars, and you can create your own avatar, and they allow you on IMVU to make your own clothes. But there's templates, and you can take the template of somebody else's product and derive it from that, and then it becomes your derivation. Is that the word? I think so.
Derivation?
Derivation. I think with lyric videos too, I think it's not something you want to do with every video, but it's great to be able to have the choice to mix things up because, especially for a song that's a bit more hard hitting, really great to throw in a lyric video there. So you make sure that people understand what you're writing about, because sometimes words get lost in music and we all have crazy Aussie accents like myself that people don't understand. Like when I do my show and say, grab your tuna. And everybody's like, tuna?
Where's my fish?
Yes. So, the fantastic thing is there's so many apps and so many places to get visualizations and so many fonts that you can find. So, it's a fantastic... We live in a fantastic world at the moment to really mix and match stuff up. But, keep it fresh. Do something different with every video. And you'll keep people's interests up. And lyric videos are great for that as well as visualizations.
Yeah, just trying things, experimenting. I know you and I have talked about this around music for a long time, and it's the same with your video stuff. Like, just try a different thing, try a different strategy, and just use a different app or use something for free. Speaking of, in terms of what we actually use for making videos, so we're going to play a video in about 15 minutes' time that you created, nearly come up 2 years ago, 2020, September of 2020 for Songtember, your band Metheus, that you recorded a very cool song and probably even better video. I don't know what I like more, the video or the song.
It's a better video for sure.
What's so someone starting out, what's your advice for someone, and maybe just delve into a little bit of the weeds of what you used to create that video and what you'd recommend folks if they're kicking off their video creations?
Start simple. Absolutely start simple. Use stock footage. And I think one thing which I see people make mistakes with videos is if you're whatever footage it is that you are using, it doesn't matter what it is. If you feel it conveys what you're trying to convey, then it's okay. It's right. It's the right way to go. There is no wrong thing to put in there. Make sure it's in time with the changes. I think that's really important. You have beats for a reason in your song, so cut on the beats. Make sure those beats. And they can be fades, and start with something simple. Start with iMovie or something really simple, and don't get like trapped in the sea of, but I'm using LumaFusion and it's so much better and it does all this. If it's out of your pay grade at the moment, let it be. Experiment with the simple stuff. Get the simple stuff down, and because sometimes. Most of the time, the simple stuff is better. The more complicated you get, the more stress you add. And sometimes you can overbake things so much so because of the extra stress. And you put so much into this and then you play it. Remember, it's only normally a 3-minute video. It's gone in 3 minutes and you've put in so much pain and blood and tears. Keep it simple. And you'll even find once you upgrade to better gear, better software or whatever it is, again, keep that in the back of your head. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Because having all the things and using all the things doesn't always mean better video.
It's like you say a lot often with your apps and how to app on iOS. It's not like Pokemon. You don't have to catch them all. You don't have to collect all the apps. You can use what you have and just start creating. And I think, as I say very cliched and very often, is you get unlimited retries. It's like an arcade that they've set it to not need quarters or not need dollar coins anymore. So you can try something and don't be afraid to try it, put it out there, learn from it, and then do it again. I think a lot of folks starting out look at what maybe you do and then what other folks do, and they're like, man, I want to create that, instead of going, actually, I don't kind of have the skills or experience to create that yet, but my path to learning that is doing this. I think Joe and Barry Glenn are good examples of that, people from this community that they've started creating and they've learned as they've gone to go from just a static shot of them performing to a lot more. And Guzzo of Oz is someone that we played on the weekend. He had a shot that was just footage he took of the beach, beautiful beach, coast of Queensland, and then him overlaid with a cool effect playing in front of a green screen. And that kept my attention for like 3 minutes, no problems at all, because it was a good song, it was well written, and you could look at some nice scenery. So it can be as simple as that when you're starting out. You don't have to boil the ocean, and your first video doesn't have to be this massive production with, costumes and Darth Vader and anything like that. Or it could be if you want it to be.
Well, remember, there's a song in there as well. So the video isn't the complete story. The video is an extension of the story. The song still has to be front and center. It still has to make sense within there. So you can complement a song. Sometimes there've been clips throughout the years of I can't think of anything off my brain because it's way too early, but where the artist has released a great song and they've put so much into the video that the video has outshined the song, and people only remember the video. I'm sure that's happened because if you can think about anything on this planet, it's normally happened, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
So remember the song. Like, the song is the star. It is an important thing to. I mean, there are important things with creating music, making video that you have to keep in the back of your head and go back to. Like, the song's important. I'm showcasing the song. It's not all about the video. Video's the extension. It's the thing that can tell a little bit extra of the actual story of the song.
Yeah, it's a music video. It's not a video with background music. So the music is in front. So the music should be in front. Absolutely. Doug Kidder, hello to you, says happens when mixing as well, killing the music with the non-stop mixing. Yeah, you got to know when you're done. You got to know when you're finished, and you got to know your limitations as well. I know that I don't have the limitations to use like 8 different sends and receives and effects and things. I like a very basic and simple way of doing things. I don't use a lot of external plugins, and that's what works for me. Like, if you like to go complex, then that's all good. But I think sometimes, especially if you watch too much tutorial content. I mean, you should watch Jade's show and you should watch my channel 24/7, really. But not really, because I think you can go into analysis paralysis where you're learning so much. You're like, man, I watched 17 tutorial videos yesterday, and oh man, am I enthused. Oh yeah, what have you created lately? what do you mean? Like, no, you got to actually implement it. Watch a video and then do something with it. Because, like most things with learning and knowledge, if you just take in the knowledge and you don't apply the knowledge, it's not going to stick, and you're not going to improve. You're going to have
There's
a good.
a famous wrestler named Matt Hardy from the Hardy Boys, and he's got this gimmick which he's had for a few years. And he comes out and he looks at his opponent and goes, "Delete, delete, delete, delete." And it's what I always think of when I'm making a music video or a song, because you get to the point where you've put so much in and you start mixing, and that's where you've got to start getting. You've got to like make those tough cuts and start deleting things, because that, in my opinion, of creating music videos and songs is where the magic really happens. It's what you take out that really makes things shine. And not enough people focus on this. Everyone focuses on how to make this bigger and better, how to do this, how to add compression to make this. It's what you take out that actually gives the room breath and availability, and it's what makes popular songs successful. It's what makes popular videos successful, because people have had the balls to pull out stuff that they probably wanted to put in there. Their hearts were set on it, and you can't always have what you want. The famous band said.
It's you can't. Oh no. You're so right. I was listening. I've been doing this series. Like, we both do live shows, which let's segue to that in a moment. But I was listening to some music in preparation for some '90s live shows that I'm doing, acoustic shows. And man, some of the best music from the '90s was so simple. Like, some of it was literally like one drum loop, maybe a guitar or a synth or a keyboard, and then maybe 2 or 3 layers of vocals. And you're listening to this song going, why do people have 200 track Pro Tools projects for every single song these days, with all these different effects and things going on, when this music is as good, if not better, than what's being produced these days? And it's probably 8 analog tracks of recording. It's nuts.
And that's probably, what you were trying to do with this 8-bar challenge as well, to show that you don't need all the tracks. And let me just make sure I get this point across. You can have 200 tracks when you're building the song. That's okay. But it's being able to remember 200 tracks. You've got so much to choose from now. It's like vocal comping, put all those vocal comps in there and then strip it all back. It's possibly one of the hardest things to do as a musician or creating videos. But once you can actually train yourself to get into that, to subtract and delete.
Yep.
Because we all know we're all guilty of it, just with emails. We all have emails that we should be deleting each day, and we just leave them there. The same ad comes from that same Manny's music store, and I just keep leaving them there where I should be deleting them. So it applies to so many things in life. Just delete it. You don't need it. It's clutter.
Exactly. Yep. Simplify, dude. Yes. If someone would made a purpose-built music video editor, look, that is one of the hardest things to do, and to actually edit videos on the beat. And you're right, Thomas. Maybe you should work with an app developer and develop an app, because if there was something that just auto-detected BPM and then gave you your frames, and look, there's probably templates in things like Final Cut. Like, once you get higher up, there's probably music syncing plugins and things you can use. But it would be great to have a single app, wouldn't it?
There's an app for that.
Yeah.
Auria Pro does that, actually. Auria Pro version actually has a video component built into it. You have to pay extra for it. And you can actually import video in there and sync it up to your project in the app, in the actual music, in the DAW. So that is a thing. I haven't done it myself because can't be bothered.
Well, look, once you get used to it, it's kind of like editing and cutting video for shows that we do and for videos we do. Once you get used to it, you can just look at a transient basically and know exactly when the beat's starting anyway. So it depends on the type of music, but if you haven't crushed your master and you're not working with a sausage waveform, then you can usually see where the one beats are on your bars and line up your video that way.
That's a really good point. That's a good point, Pete. I try to do that when I'm creating videos. I normally use the unmastered version because it's a smaller file. You can see the transients a lot better. You can see everything. And then at the end, once everything's all in place, remove the file and then bring in the mastered file, because you do need to see those points, and you need to understand what a WAV file looks like to see where the chorus is, and before it gets mastered and gets blown out and loud and all that stuff and so many laughs. It's a good way to just use the unmastered version while you're shooting your video.
Yeah, I'm thinking out loud here as Thomas said that and you said that. I'm like, you really? Because if you're using something like LumaFusion where you can have multiple audio tracks, bring a click track in and put that under your video and then just cut both at once, so you can just have a click on the kick of every bar, and then you'll never lose yourself again, and you'll be able to line it up perfectly there because it'll be there. There you go. All right, we've solved the problem. Thanks.
That's what we do.
That's what we do around here. Yeah, well, and it's building on ideas, and that's the thing. That's why I love this show so much, because talking to different people and talking to different guests and just shooting the shit see, like I swore, I was the first one to swear.
Yeah,
is a good way to just get yourself to just work through problems. Like, you're not going to have all the solutions, but if you talk them through, you'll come together and do it. Hello, we'll say good day because we've got some other chats here. OK Go, no one remembers the song, they remember the treadmills. Yeah, which is a good look. OK Go have had a good career, but yes, they've focused it around the video. They're probably make videos with music. They're the opposite of what most people do.
Not as good as Pete's treadmill that I got to walk on.
That my treadmill is epic and famous. Hello to Faulty Tenor, Sean Johnson Music. Hello to you. That's a name I haven't seen or not familiar with around the place. Thanks for joining in and dropping on the community. Complex orchestral templates can cover 500 to 1,200 tracks. Extreme. Yeah, I can't and never will.
I've watched Pro Tools videos on orchestral stuff and movie stuff and just going, oh, my brain's melting. I have to go outside and lick a window.
It is nuts. It is. Hello, Ed Z too as well. Me, myself, and iPhone, and Mr. Smith, and anyone else who's joined us that we haven't said g'day to. It's not because we don't love you. It's because we just haven't got around to it. Couple of bit of housekeeping here. Once again, if you're just joining us here on the show, this show is brought to you by BandLab, and BandLab have got some pretty cool features. And every week, because I've been using BandLab for about a month now. Yep, there's your link, Jade's pointing to above. I've been using BandLab for around about a month now, and every time I play with it, I find something new. And oh no, Chrome has lost permission to show my screen.
Thanks, Chrome.
This
Did
is
you
the
not
fun
update?
thing.
There was an update yesterday.
Probably. Let's see if we can do this on the fly, because I was about to show the screen. It was about to be smooth as, and we've got to go. And because I'm on a Mac here, you've got to do a lot of stuff. You've got to go into system preferences. It wants me to it'll lead me to restart Chrome. You're going to have to use your imagination. My apologies, BandLab, but you'll have to use your imagination about what we're looking at here over on the screen. But if you've tried out BandLab, there is actually a really cool thing. We're talking about collaborating and the fact that, two brains are better than one, and talking with other people. If you're looking to collaborate on music, I know that Brad Example, who was on your show recently, does a lot of this stuff on BandLab. You can throw your track out there, open it up, and say, hey, people, come and collaborate on this. And another cool feature I found just this week was there's an explore feature. And you're like, oh, I want to explore and find other people. Well, that could be anyone, anywhere in the world. There's actually a near you function. So if you want to start a real life band, you can go near you. And no, you don't have to swipe left or right. It's nothing like that. But you can actually go in and say, find people near me that create a similar sort of music as me. So if you were looking to start a band, but you want to start maybe digitally and remotely and then get some real world people. You were talking to Welton Kinder about the power of Pokemon Go, because it's an app and then it brings people together in the real world. I think BandLab can do a pretty similar thing. Like, you could create your own virtual band that you eventually bring together. Do you have thoughts on this, Jade? Is this dangerous? So we gonna...
What if there's some creepy dude who won't leave you alone, and they're like, oh, I've got another bass line, and they want to come around?
Yeah, it's like, ding dong, I'm here and I brought my bass.
You know what I'm like? I hate people. I love doing this because I love people here, but I hate people on the outside.
Well, you know what you could do with the Explore feature? Instead of hitting the Near You button, you can find the exact furthest away location from your place and search that city. So Germany. You could be working with only artists in the Ukraine or in Turkey or in Uzbekistan, and then you'd be totally fine. You'd never have to see them in real life. So, no, it is a cool feature, and do go check it out. I've got a whole playlist of videos videos that you can check out down in the description on BandLab. You can use it on your mobile. You can use it on your desktop browser. It's just a great little sketch pad. I've been using it just to sketch out ideas and just it's cool. And then you can bring it over into GarageBand as well. So the 8-bar challenge that Jay was mentioning before, I started that by just finding a cool slap bass loop in BandLab for free, and then dropped it over into GarageBand, and then just build a track around that. So even if you're just looking for some free samples, it's a good little sample library, and it's even got metal, and because we did metal.
Yeah. So. It's been really interesting watching you use it. Like, I'm a member of BandLab. I just don't have the time to start another door, you know what I mean? But it's been really fascinating what you go through, all the process, and you know, knowing that there is a door that is like in a browser. Like, I'm still like amazed that I have a door on my iPhone, you know.
I know.
But in a browser, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, what's next?
I was showing my daughter, and she was like, "Oh, so I could just go onto my browser at school and just be like making music." And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe don't do that. Maybe ask your teacher before you go and just start doing that, because as cool as that is, it may not be school approved. Especially if you're scrolling through those Creator Connect and you come across some of the artist names, and they're like, "Oh, hang on,
there's FMC." Yeah. I've done a cover of placenta pancakes and puke.
Oh, very, very cool. So thank you, Thomas Christ, our wonderful moderator, who has thrown in the chat there. Yeah, if you want to get started for free with BandLab, you can go ahead and do that. Let's talk about, we talked about that we do live performances. Just before, we'll cover this topic, and then we'll actually play a Jade Starr music video in about 5 minutes' time. But live performance in terms of video. So obviously you can make music videos, you can make lyric videos, you can do visualizations, you can perform your music live. What's your advice for folks around this? What are the pros and cons you've found after doing this live on the internet for quite some time?
Look, I love performing live on the weekend. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's relaxing. I get to... It's interesting, you know, because you do a show like this, like myself, and sometimes I sit there and think each day, oh, there must be people joining this going, who is this weirdo? and why do they think they have the knowledge to tell this stuff? And because you can't just sit there on each show and go, hello, everybody, I'm a singer, and just show off all your stuff, because you don't want to be conceited or anything like that. So I think live performance for myself on the weekend is a really good chance to say, all right, well, here's why I can show you this. I've been doing this for a long time, and I want to perform. I miss performing live. It used to be like a big part of my life. So the live performances on YouTube are really cool. I do think there's a limit. I like that we both play, you play after me each weekend. I do think an hour show for a live performance is the limit. I do. Yep. There's a lot of people who do live performances that go on 2-3 hours, and I'm like, man, yeah, I'm done, because I do believe less is more, and you want to leave your audience wanting more than going over, and I think it can drive people away over time if every kind of week you're up there for 3 hours, and because people don't, the world's opened up, and there are actually outside gigs again. So, you know, you're not owning the space anymore here on YouTube. But I do love live performances, and I'm changing up my live performances coming up in June, because I normally do, you know, like yourself, four a month, and I'm moving to 3 a month, and the final week of each month, I'm having a guest artist on the show to come and perform for me, because I'm looking at it like this. Well, I'm opening for Pete Johns each week, and once a month, I'm going to have somebody else come in and open for Pete Johns. And luckily enough, DistroKid is sponsoring it, so it's really exciting that DistroKid have jumped on board for the channel to encourage artists to come on and perform live, because there's a lot more. There's more to just releasing music. I want to see people perform, and I think being that more all-round musician and making videos, making music, and then pushing yourself to get up and try and recreate it, even if it's to a backing track.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people have said that to me, and I've probably said the same to you. They're like, "Oh, it's fine for you. You can play an instrument. You do vocal music. You don't do the sort of music I do." I've seen live shows and live performances of people like Cy Effen. He does some really amazing stuff where he does
Yep.
live performances of more electronic style music. I've seen people doing DJ sets live. I've seen people like Glenn Clark does great premieres for when he releases albums. He did one just recently where he'll play the song and then he'll talk about it. And I think that's a great, I mean, whether you do that live or whether you do that pre-recorded, if you don't want to be on the spot and do it live, I think that's really interesting and fascinating too. People want something different, and like you say, and I think the best bit of advice you put out there is around the timing, because look, there's been times, and you know what it's like when you do a live stream. You even though you don't want to watch the numbers, you do watch the numbers, and you'll start a live stream, but maybe there's 10 people watching, and then there's 20, and then there's 30, and then there's 40. I've got to the end of an hour, and it's peaked at like 40 plus people that are watching me live, and I'm like, I should just keep going, and then I'm like, no, what? It like leave people wanting more, because if you overstay your welcome, like you say, it won't only impact you that time around, but then the next time when people see you live, if they know that they're going to get a tight hour of music and then be allowed to go on with their day, they're more likely to hang around and actually watch that than if they're like, will this ever end? And we've all been... Look, I've done live shows. I'm not saying I'm holier than thou. I've done live shows where I've gone on too long. I've felt it. I've known it. And I've made a pact with myself to not do that the next time around, because it really does. It can be more damaging than good, even though at the time it might feel like it's doing good.
Yeah, and in relation to singing to backing tracks, I've done live shows where I'm singing to my new Dread Circus album that isn't out yet, and it's all like recorded, and it's got no. I've taken the vocals out. I think there are some people out there, and I used to be one of them, that we've come through an era where Milli Vanilli was a thing, and and all of these artists that you think, but can they do it live? And it's okay. Hey, if you do a live stream and you're playing to your own music or a karaoke track or whatever, it's okay, because hey, if you're singing along to it or you're playing a trumpet to it, you're still being a part of a process. And I don't think people sit there and judge like they used to back in the 80s when the Milli Vanilli thing and Stock Aitken and Water, is that what they call Waterman, all that kind of stuff, where people are like, this is all
The hit factory.
generated music. We've gone past that. Sure, maybe if somebody does a live performance and they've got like backing vocals, that still gets called out. But on YouTube, you have the power to create your own world and create your own kind of show and make it different. Watch other people's live streams and see what they're doing, and do the total opposite. Do the total opposite.
It's really good advice, because again, a lot of people think, "Oh, I need to copy. I need to do exactly what other people are doing." And what are the best practices for doing a music video? What are the best practices for a live video performance? Or what is no one else doing? Because people, I often say that I'm not going to be as good a Joe Gilder as Joe Gilder or Rick Beato as Rick Beato when I'm doing my shows. But no one's as good at Pete Johns as me, and no one's as good at Jade Starr as you. So embrace let your freak flag fly. Embrace your inner you, and just do what you do best. And I think that's pretty darn good
Spot
advice.
on. The number one thing is be yourself.
Yeah,
Put yourself,
exactly.
Throw yourself out there, because a lot of YouTube is actually, believe it or not, I know a lot of people think it's all about the content. It's very character driven.
Oh yeah.
And people will identify with you if you are I try to be as authentic as possible. It is definitely the way, and you're going to get people who try and cut you down for being authentic. But if you're throwing it all out there, let it go. Just let it go. Don't even respond to that kind of stuff, because you are being as authentic as you possibly can. There's nothing more you can give.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need permission, and that's the beautiful part of the new world and the future is that, let's be honest, that if someone was running a TV station with the limited number of TV stuff that could be put out there in the 90s, you and I would be on like that Channel 44. We'd only be allowed on the community stations. Like no one's green lighting a Pete Johns or a Jade Starr show on commercial TV doing what we do. But the beautiful part is that doesn't freaking matter anymore, because you green light yourself, and if someone doesn't like it, they can go and watch Married at First Sight and Big Big Brother and just leave you alone, and everyone's happy. So good luck to them.
I would always watch community TV over.
Oh, it's the greatest thing.
Because, there's so much to laugh at. It's just the value. And even if you're laughing with them or at them, it's still joyous. It doesn't matter. Even if it's car crash garbage and it's some guy's camera falls off the thing, it's brilliant. Because you're entertained. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Speaking of entertainment, speaking of car crash, no, not quite. Speaking of entertainment and speaking of letting your freak flag fly, we got a video to show you folks because we can't talk about music videos and we can't talk about how to make music videos without playing a music video. So we're going to give this one a spin. Many of you have seen it before. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. Do you want to let us know a little bit about this song, the creation of this song, and then we'll just press play on tape and take a look.
This came about using LumaFusion, my garage downstairs, a couple of cameras, and about $400 worth of ridiculous costumes I bought off eBay on a whim, and a storyboard. The whole thing is documented on my channel. There's a playlist of how it all came about. My first time actually storyboarding something and drawing little pictures and having them all lined up, and it just still is one of the proudest things. It's utterly ridiculous, and it's meant to be fun.
We love it. Without further ado, World Divided from Metheist. We'll be back in about 3.5 minutes, folks. We'll see you then.
Control my mind, we tear each other down.
And the good news is that nearly 2 years later, the world is now united as one. There is no more division.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees on everything all the time. So, Jade, you did it. Congratulations. Let's get started.
I'm a problem solver, Pete. That's what I do. I bring the world together in stupid costumes. Oh, man, I wish, that we could get to a better place.
You know what? We can only do what we can do, it's interesting. I was actually listening to this is a bit of a side note, so we'll go off on a weird tangent and then we'll come back on track and talk videos again. I promise. But you were talking about the sad passing of, I've forgotten his name now, but from Depeche Mode, I can't recall his name. But you were on
Andy Fletcher.
There you go, Andy Fletcher. And it kind of got me thinking, are there too many famous people these days? Do we know too many people? Do we have too much access to too many people now? Because I was like thinking about this going, man, it feels like almost every day there's something sad and there's someone in the music community, in the music world that's passing on or that has some sort of drama. And I'm like, I reckon it's because we all have access to so much media all the time, and there are so many more. Like back in the 60s and 70s, there were like 10 bands that people knew of, and if something happened, you'd have to wait for the next day's newspaper to find out about it. Do you think that there's a problem with like this instant access to everyone's everything now?
I don't think that we have as much access as we'd like to think to artists. There still is, not everyone's Johnny Depp and Amber Turd, Thankfully, not everyone is them two because, they're sucking the energy out of the world at the moment. Speaking of which, it still makes me laugh. Every time I see this video, look at that. Delicious stuff. Whatever it is she's having, I'll have some.
She was just very upset that she wasn't winning the argument.
I just think it's the way the information's traveling. Like we get this information so quickly about things that happen. I mean, because there still is even though it feels like we have more access to celebrities and artists. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there still is a lot of private stuff that we aren't privy to. Because you do get to control your narrative on social media. It's totally up to you how much you give away.
That's a very good point.
And it's a hard thing to learn too. It really is a hard thing to learn. Again, it's like deleting files from your projects. How much do you give away to people before it gets like, oh my God, I'm suffocating. I don't know what it's like to be a celebrity. I'll always be a Z grade celebrity, and I'm more than happy with that because Z is a cooler letter than A. But look, it's incredibly sad to lose someone so influential to so many people, to see Andy Fletcher pass away. I think what's really confronting, and just getting older now, every time some artist dies, and it seems like there's more and more of them, there isn't. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. Because we have all this information. It's not that there's more people dying or anything like that. It's just that we're getting older. And every time I see someone, the first thing I thought today when I saw Andy Fletcher's passing was, oh my God, he's only 10 years older than me. Oh my God, I'm becoming old. What the hell? And even just saying that is like, it's like, oh, I don't understand this music anymore. It's almost like that. You're actually admitting, oh my God, he died at 60. I'm 50 in a few months.
Like all these kids on the TikTok.
I'll always be like that. I don't get TikTok. I'll tell you what, Pete. I watched a video on TikTok today of this person who was asking for money on YouTube for them to have a better life. They were, I'm not going to go into the full details of it. Yeah. But people started sending money and money and money, and they end up making $300,000 off people. And they didn't use the money for what they said they would. And they bought a condo and a car and all this stuff. And do you know, there's so much shit that goes on TikTok that is super negative. It's one of the reasons I will not go on there, because the videos are such short form. I feel people on TikTok want more and more because they're not getting enough. And this is the problem with short form media, in my opinion, because they're only getting snippets. They actually want more and more and more of these short form things because people have a natural tendency to want to know who the artist is and more about where they come from. So this short form makes people zone in even more on the target to really criticize and put them under the microscope. It's something about TikTok that I don't like, that once you get people on your TikTok that are into it, they become like parasites. Really, it's very parasitical. TikTok, I believe.
And and you're right. Like, that's a good rant. Like I say, we go off on tangents here. I said to Joe, I got some topics, but we'll go off on tangents. We'll talk about random other things. And I just thought about that for that. But you're right. And sometimes, sometimes the raving fan or the people that are fans of people go to the extreme. I mean, we've seen it happen with celebrities being stalked back in the days and all sorts of things. The Jodie Foster thing where she had her stalker that was it's been happening for years. But I think these days, you're right. I think the perception of access that people think because they can at a celebrity on Twitter or that they can DM a celebrity on Instagram, they think they have the right to have access to them. And I think, that the only point that I make is that, you get to choose. And in fact, it's a good segue because we wanted to talk about this. We want to talk about doing other things because you sort of mentioned that for creators, most creators are kind of intense people. I'm not generalizing, but most of us are pretty intense. We get very into things and we get very down on ourselves when things don't go the way we thought or the way that the vision in our mind was. If it doesn't match the reality, then that can be challenging. And taking breaks and managing your own mental health is something I know that you've focused on and have talked about on your show and some of the other shows that you've done on your channel. What's important? What do folks need to know and keep in mind if they're a creator around taking breaks and getting away from the process sometimes?
Well, taking breaks, it's interesting. I interview a lot of artists from within this community and outside the community, and a very consistent thread for a lot of people from, let's just say, from within this YouTube community of a whole bunch of creators here that we kind of all follow, is the persistent story of I started making music and then life got in the way. And then other things happened. I got married, I had a family, I got a job. But the one thing that seems to be very consistent is people come back to it. So, and I think that's an overall larger story of the smaller story of taking breaks when things are getting too much. And even when things are actually going good and you're on a roll, it's okay to take a break as well. I think it is the message I try and put out to people is it's okay if you're struggling. You've got blocks and you're not writing music. It's okay because music isn't everything. Like it's everything and it's not. You know, it gets you through good times. It gets you through bad times. It helps you release the things that are inside you. If you're a creator, it helps you release the things inside you listening to it. But it's not everything. There are other pursuits out there, and it's okay to take a break. And I'll tell you what, I think a lot of people fear, and I do still too, that if you take a break, people are going to forget who you are.
Bum, 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 bum.
And it's not the case. It is not the case unless you are a one-hit wonder from the 80s and you release something and then you're never remembered again. But that's the choice you made to go with a company like Stock Aitken and Waterman. I'm slagging them off today. But no, taking a break.
We're going to sponsor next week's show.
What was it called? The Music Factory, the Hit Factory.
Yeah, it was rough.
And even if you're not making music, as Mark's just written here, music is everywhere, but it ain't everything. Because even if you're not making music and you're not listening to music, it is everywhere. It's when you go and do your grocery shopping. It's when you're in an elevator. You really can't escape it. And there's music in video games, and there's music all around you. There's music from the birds outside. Inspiration comes from places you really never expect. So taking breaks is important. For me, it was recently getting a drone because I felt trapped in here that I'm creating so much content here on YouTube and still making enough music. But yeah, there's the feeling every day where I'm waking up and going, oh man, I feel like there's so much pressure because all there is in this room is a studio and a bed. Yeah. And I just virtually sleep in a studio and it's just taunting me day after day going, you must create. And so buying a drone got me outside the house, and I haven't had to like talk to people. I can still do it on my own, and I can scare people by flying my drone over them. That's really fun.
Nice. I love it.
Taking breaks is really important. It is.
Yeah, and again, looking after him. And I think that's why community is so good, and why I've sort of ranted on this before, but having a community where you know that when you want to be there, people will greet you and welcome you, and then when you're not there, they'll miss you, but they're not going to hassle you. And that's the thing. I think that you're right. The best bit of advice from that is, don't worry, don't think that, oh man, I've got this obligation to be at Blah's channel or Blah's live stream. Like, neither Jade nor I or anyone that's running channels expects everyone to watch every minute of everything we do, because we do way too much. Like, it's just not feasible. And you do need to take breaks away from not only your own creativity, but even being ingrained in the communities. And that's why we thank Thomas Christ, because he's literally taking one for the team. He watches almost every minute of everything that Jade and I do.
God
So
bless
Thomas,
you, Thomas Christ.
can we get a big round of applause in the chat for Thomas Christ, because his skills of moderating, and look, I know he does other things as well. Like, he's talked to me about his setup where he's got his TV cast there with the show on there, and then he's got other things that he's working on as well. So, but yeah, if you don't know how hard that is, it can be difficult. But and again, if Thomas said to me, Pete, I can't come to Blah's show, I'm not going to say, oh, how dare you, that's terrible. I'm going to say, hey, we'll miss you, but good, we'll see you next time. And yeah, I think it's the same thing, taking those breaks away. And I've realized now, because I got a little bit, when I first started doing this full time, I got a little bit crazy and was doing so many videos and so many live shows that I was like just being in people's face 24/7 and putting out like Instagram photos every day and Twitter every day. And then I realized that you got to give people a chance to miss you, because if you're too full on, they're just like, that guy again, and you're going to get snoozed, and you're going to get people that are not going to want to see it. So, yeah, there's a fine balancing act there between being always there and always on versus looking after yourself. So,
the same with my show. It's called How to App on iOS, and there's heaps of shows that aren't about apps, because it's so limiting. At the same time, for my own brain, I have to do shows on other things like mental health, and you just have to, because you will rot your brain by doing the same thing over and over again.
It is true. Variety is the spice of life. Mate, we got 4 minutes left. Every time we get together, it's always, the time flies, and I knew that I'd put like 20 different topics here and we'd talk about like 5 of them. But I hope that if folks are out there and they're thinking about creating videos, hopefully we've like just dumbed it down a little bit and realized that you don't have to boil the ocean. You don't have to do everything all at once. You can start simple. Just go to Canva or go to Pexels and grab some stock footage, throw it into iMovie, whack your track in there, and just chop it up and play with it, and then put it out there and see what people think, and then try again, because you're only going to learn by continually doing this sort of stuff. So get your videos out there. You've got speaking of How to App on iOS, I've thrown it here in the chat, and I'll put it in the description. It hadn't been set up but yesterday, but when I put this show together, but your big 600th episode spectacular has been scheduled. I've just set myself a reminder here. I'm going to throw the link in the chat here again. There it is. See, I can't put my screen up because I'm hamstrung here, but Jay can. So I've thrown that in the chat here. So what's a little bit of a tease of what folks have in store for if they jump on over and check that show out, which is happening around about this time next week.
It is. It's exactly, it's a couple of hours before. 3 hours, yeah. So I'm not doing an interview, and it's just amazing that it's fallen. It's exactly 2 years on June 3rd that I kicked off this How to App silly idea, and it happens to be the 600th episode. I do lie. I'm cheating. It's not landing exactly on the day, so I'm actually not doing a show on Monday. I'm going to do a daily digest instead, so I'm going to make it happen. But at the same time, this goes back to what we were just talking about. I don't feel the need anymore. Like, to me, probably a year ago, I'd be like, oh, what? I have to take a day off, and that's going to screw the numbers up, and I would do everything I could to actually not take the day off. But now it's like, you know what? Just take it off. Do something else instead. And, everyone's still going to be here the next day. So exactly, I don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be a few of my favorite people on. I'm going to have maybe some of the mods who have been just amazing to help me on the channel, and some special guests. maybe there could be about 8 to 10 people coming and join me on the show. So who knows? It's going to be an open door for some of my favorite people. And I hope everyone can come and join me and hang out. We'll go for 2 hours and we'll just talk a lot of shit.
It sounds like fun. I know that some of the best shows that I've been on your channel are where we just get to shoot the breeze and rant. We have our uncensored rants, and they're always a heck of a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, in 1 minute's time, straight after this show, we've got a show here, Fix My Mix. And do you know who the guest is that Mike's got on here today, Jade?
I haven't seen it yet.
It is Happy Ron. So Happy
my
Ron
God.
is going to be on.
Awesome.
There's the link there. Happy Ron will be on Fix My. If you don't know Happy Ron, mate, you're in for a treat. Happy Ron is a legend in the San Diego music scene. He is a heck of a good guy and always a laugh. So jump on over to Fix My Mix featuring Happy Ron over on the show. I want to say a huge thanks to my guest Jade Starr. Head over to How to App on iOS, which you can check out in the description, and a huge thanks to BandLab, who have been sponsoring right throughout the month of May. They've been sponsoring each and every Creator Town Hall show. So if you haven't checked them out, like I say, even if you're not after a new door, use and abuse all of their cool packs, all their free sounds they have in there. Explore other people in your area or as far away from you as possible if you wanted to go that way as well. But there's heaps of cool free stuff over at BandLab. Use the link up the top or in the description. Jade Starr, I'm going to let you have the final words before we sign off here for the week.
I can't wait to have 2 days off. Come and join me on the opening hour before Pete Johns every week. That's going to be fun. I'm doing the Wheel of Karaoke for this week. And yeah, feel free to come over and join me on the chat. You know what? It's never expected for people to come over each day. You're absolutely right, Pete. I don't sit there and go, where was this person? But hey, if you want to come and spend an hour and hang out on the show, please do. I try and make it as fun as possible. And, I will finish with my show is about you. I want you to be better. I want you to release great music, to play on things like YML. I want you to just be the best you possibly can, as awesome as you can. And, if you feel like you aren't, come and spend some time and hopefully I can help you feel good. Yeah? That's what it's all about.
Love it. It's not
makes you happy.
It's YouTube. All right.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it, folks. Thank you for being here. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Keep creating, and we'll see you soon.